everybody, it's Vera Wilde. This is probably going to be the last Dear Vera video that I'm going to shoot while I'm in Montreal for the Montreal Burlesque Festival. I'm running out of daylight, and unfortunately the actual lights in my hotel room kind of suck. So this will probably be the last one that I get put together, but this is a Dear Vera question from Jennifer Hope. Dear Vera, have you ever had to deal with, quote, tranny chasers? I've had to block people on Flickr because of their pics or videos of their sexual organs or other sexually explicit content which suggests that all they want is to have sex with me. I dress with modesty in mind, so I don't understand why they think it is appropriate to follow me with nothing to show but genitalia shots. While I identify as a sexual person myself, I think it's disgusting and sexual harassment. Any advice, Jenny? Yes, I have had to deal with that sort of thing. I think pretty much any dresser with a notable online presence in video or picture form has probably had to deal with that. And I wish I could say that there are certain things that you could do to minimize that, but there really aren't. And you are actually very correct when you label it as harassment. And it is very similar to how women get harassed by men, you know, on the street, in their workplace, and in life in general. And that's not me necessarily, I'm not trying to equate the two, and I'm not trying to say I understand what it's like to be harassed as a woman. It is different, but it's in the same vein. And by that I mean, it doesn't matter how you dress, it doesn't matter how you behave. There are some men out there who view you as a sexual object first, and possibly only as that and nothing else. And it doesn't matter what you dress, what you say, none of it. There are men who will act like this towards you regardless. So the first thing to keep in mind is if you have people harassing you like that, whether it's in person or online, first thing, it is not your fault. You didn't invite it. It just is something that you are going to have to deal with. If you are strictly dealing with online, the best thing to do is just to block people as it comes up. And that's frustrating and disheartening, but trust me, there's really no way around it. And I say that as someone who I know who has more, I mean, I don't have anything sexually explicit online, but if you go through, you know, I've got burlesque numbers up, and some of my pictures on Instagram or Flickr are more teasing, enticing, you know, and that sort of thing. So I understand I have that, but I also do state very explicitly on every profile I have that I am not looking to hook up. I have no interest in being contacted with anyone interested in that. And it is interesting with what Jennifer said, because sometimes, actually often, these men won't even actually message you. They will simply like start to follow you, and you look at their Flickr page or whatever, and it's nothing but images of them nude or sexually explicit pictures that they've cribbed from online sites and are housing there. And that alone feels like harassment, because they've offered no context. They haven't lent out an olive branch to be like, here's why I'm contacting you. Look, these sorts of pictures are on my feed, but I just want to get to know you better. Because they don't, all we have to go by is what we see. And if that's what we see, it's at best it's off-putting, but it can just make you feel dirty, and it's unpleasant. And so if there are guys who are attracted to dressers or people who are transgendered or gender fluid or whatever it may be, I mean, Jennifer used the term tranny chasers. I try not to, because tranny is often derogatory towards actual transgender individuals. But if you are someone who has those kinds of attractions, that's fine, but you still need to treat us as people. Whether it's something that we're up for or not, even if we have that interest, if you treat us like just a sex object, then we're not a person to you. And it doesn't feel good. It doesn't make you feel attractive to be viewed as a piece of meat. And I suppose the other thing that's worth mentioning is that part of the reason that the more aggressive ones, the ones who actually message you and are like, oh, I want you to and then they go on a rant about the things they want to do to you or they want you to do to them. Part of the reason that they do it is that, regrettably, in certain circumstances, it kind of works. And it's just, and they're just kind of playing the numbers. They know if they message enough people that they'll come across someone who either actually has an interest and is happy to play into that, and no judgment. If you enjoy that kind of attention genuinely and you want those kinds of interactions, more power to you. But they'll either expect to eventually find that, or they may not even know the difference. They'll encounter someone who is really desperate for validation of their femininity. And unfortunately, sort of the really hard and nasty way to get that is getting attention from men who sexualize you in a feminine fashion. And it makes you feel feminine, but it makes you feel like a feminine piece of meat. So it's scratching an itch, and there are some dressers who will give in to that just for whatever validation they're able to get out of it. But ultimately, that's usually not a path that ends very happily. And because, like I said, that kind of attention at the end of the day is kind of demeaning and a little degrading. And again, if it's something that for you does completely validate your femininity and you enjoy it, then for you it's not degrading. It is empowering for the kind of attention that you want. But I've seen so many who have given into that kind of attention because it's the most attention they get, and they'll kind of just latch onto it anyway. So, and these men who do this, they kind of feed on that and they prey on that, and they may not even know it either. From their end, they may not know the difference between someone who is genuinely enjoying that kind of attention to someone who is reluctantly accepting that kind of attention because it feels like the best attention that they're getting. So, in terms of online, the best thing that you can do is block and ignore people as you feel it is necessary to do so. For my part, I usually only block people who send me really nasty, explicit messages or what have you. I mean, I certainly don't, if all they've got is that sort of, explicit stuff in their own feeds or whatever, I won't follow them back. But I won't block them if that's what they have. I'm not going to reach out to and communicate with them either. But in terms of in real situations, like if you find yourself going to a bar or a club or whatever that is trans and cross-dresser friendly, there may be people in real life who will come up to you and treat you in much that same way. And you kind of want to scope out what the vibe of the location and the event is, because some places and some events very much cater to that kind of cross-dressing individual and that kind of person who is attracted to that kind of cross-dressing individual. Some of them cater to that, some of them don't. So that is a little bit do some research on the situation, which again is not to say that going there makes it your fault if someone harasses you and you didn't want them to. Just be aware of what kind of elements are likely to be at any given event that you go to. But if you're not at that kind of event and someone's just harassing you, tell them to f*** off. And by all means, use those words. I haven't had to do it often, but I have, and I'll use them again as necessary. So that'll be it for that one. It is definitely now too dark for me to shoot any more of these. You've probably been watching the light go down on me. Don't let the sun go down on me. I couldn't stop myself. So that'll be it for this one, folks. You will see a list of Patreon supporters there. I do have a Patreon page. There'll be a link at the end and then the description. I would encourage you to check it out. If you enjoyed this content, please consider supporting me. Even if you don't, if all you do is watch these videos, thank you for that. I deeply appreciate it. And if you want to reach out to me, if you have questions, you can message me here. You can leave a comment. I do respond to those. You can email me, verawylde@gmail.com. And I'm at verawylde lots of places, Instagram and Twitter, and I'm not very hard to find. So thank you so much for your questions. Keep them coming, and until next time.